Hey y'all, I'm coming with another video. This time it's going to be about the time that I got to serve the apostle and the minister's food. It's something that I don't think a lot of people really do. It's not like it's exclusive or anything. It is exclusive, the person that is the server for the leader, for the apostle, for Naason, or for someone before his time. But to be around during that environment, during the time, the timing, the preparation, and everything that goes behind the scenes was very appealing to me at the time. And I look back at it, very strange, peculiar, interesting, however you want to call it. So we go back all the way to 2016. This is, I believe, his sixth tour at this time. He was doing all these tours for those non-Lldm members or who were never part of it. He started to go throughout the different parts of the world where there was a church presence. And in the beginning, he mentioned that his purpose was to kind of like verify his status as the apostle, right? There was like that uncertainty that he would say that I'm just here to confirm the faith of the brothers and sisters, and hopefully they receive me as the so-called apostle. And this was his sixth tour, I believe, on this side of the States. And we were already told months ahead that he was planning to come around this side of the area. We weren't sure until maybe a month before, maybe a little more, a little less, that he would choose Atlanta as the base city to come on Sunday, have that transmission transmitted throughout the entire world, church, honestly, the church audience, the Lldm audience. So we're told months ahead. And during this time, we had a minister and his wife who I'll give them credit for having a lot of the church very active, trying to give as many people roles to make them feel important. That's how cults operate and work. But I do enjoy the fact that these people were helping some of the youth to try to get involved. It's important to participate in the community, whether it be in a church community, your local community. It's always nice to help around people. It's always a good thing. And to have some of the youth that weren't very active, that were just people that would come to church just because their parents brought them, or it was just the thing to do and nothing else. They were quite the participants for these events to serve. It was just, you're not in front of church, you're not doing something spiritual, so to say, like taking a prayer, singing a song, reading a song, whatever it is, nothing spiritual, none of that. So it involved the youth in a way that got us kind of already ready for not only the leader to come, for Naason to come, but to serve his family and the ministers that were coming alongside with us. So we're already prepared. And for the people that don't know how it goes, there's a certain way to serve. They teach you how to serve. There's and I think it goes even when you're in those fancier restaurants or even normal, semi. You got your knife, your blade, your knives, your forks. There's a proper setup. There's a way to bring in food. There's a way to take out the drinks. It's like you're serving a high-end person, and they want the minister to feel very special, and for us to also feel how special they are. They're always telling us, hey, these are men sent by God. They're here to come maybe on a Sunday or on a weekend to talk the word of God. And the least you can do after he's come and visit is give him some good food, make him feel good, make him feel comfortable. The plus side, fortunately for us too, for the minister's wife, was that even after we served the ministers, the people who were part of in making the food, they always tried their best to give the best type of food. So it was really good food. That was like one of the perks that I enjoyed about being a server, was after we finished serving the minister or the wife or even Berea people, anybody who was supposedly sent by Naason got this treatment. And I always looked forward to it because it was a spiritual blessing, quote unquote. And the food was great. Dessert was amazing. I'm a foodie, And those were the perks. And if I'm being honest, from what I've heard from other people who were also servers at one time or another, or had to do these kind of things, didn't really get to enjoy some of these benefits. You know, each minister is different, their wives, or whoever's in charge. And fortunately, we got to be very active. We were very socially active as well. So to be able to be part of behind the scenes was quite the thing. Because I go back in the mindset of Abisai 2016, it's a young guy who was thirsty for the church knowledge. I'm like, but again, my purpose at that time was to be the best that I can, to be the right-hand man, eventually be the right-hand man of the man of God. And I wanted to do everything, know everything, and participate as much as I could. There were some things that maybe I didn't like so much, other things that drew me closer. Again, the food perks was a big one. But also the fact that you're surrounded by ministers who supposedly, depending on their rank, the higher the rank, the more well-prepared, well-equipped they are with the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the Bible, the knowledge of the Word of God, and the election. So I remember there were moments that would be like, all right, we only need 2 servers. And it would be, at the time, I saw it as a blessing, being fortunate to be one of those servers to, hey, we got this pastor come in, or we got this family member. Can you maybe not serve directly, but be around you? Each server had an indicated person to serve, or a group of people, depending how big the event was and how many people were willing to serve. But for the most part, it was like each server got a pair, the husband and wife, or if it was just ministers, it would be each person with each minister. That's how they wanted to make them feel special. And I don't know if a lot of LDM folks know, I'm sure it wasn't everybody, because they said that only the youth could serve ministers. That's how it went. And you go back and look like, well, they want the young folks to participate. Who knows what the other purposes were. But at the time, I'm going back to the way I used to think, the way my faith was. It's like, okay, I'm surrounded by ministers. I can hear the word of knowledge. I can be a sponge and absorb all this and maybe put into good use later on. Now, serving the apostle was a different story. That you're to church, to Lldm, it's the dude before God. It's essentially God, and if you want to interpret that way. So you don't hear this often, and I know not everybody even got to hear when we were serving. Not all the servers heard, but there was a couple of conversations along the sides that I heard from the wife of the minister talking to, I think, the sister that was in charge of the servers, maybe another sister. Talking about who should be the one that serves the apostle. Because you have, at the time when his presentation came in, back in April 2016 in Atlanta, he brought his family, his crew, his ministers, and we'll go step by step. So church is over, if Sunday school is gone, I got to go from directing choir to change my clothes and be a server, because they put me in charge of a deacon, his wife, and another deacon. And, so they're separated. You got the deacons, the low-life ministers, or, you go by rank. The ones that are pastors and bishops are much closer to the apostle, to Naason, as they had organized it. And those that, and the special treatment was obviously Naason and his wife and his mom as well. They each had an individual server, even dressed differently from the rest. So you had servers dressed as servers, and you had 2 other sisters that were dressed nicely. Different. I think it was like a pink dress. It was 2 different colors. It was 2 sisters, two ladies with 2 different colors, serving the mom and the wife. And then you had the apostle being served by a young lady who, from what I overheard, I was part of it, was it has to be a virgin sister. It's not like she's going to go have sex, but the purpose was just for her to serve. And in order for her to be the one serving the so-called apostle, Naason, you had to be a virgin. And I think it got into the specifics of the physical details, some of the things that he prefers, he likes. So I would prefer this. So I think at the time it was like a very light-skinned girl with colored eyes who was like 16, maybe even less at the time, around that age, and virgin. Those are the indications, and they really specify on that. As members, you don't really question that. It's the apostle. He wants that. And they will reference it in the Bible and tell you, hey, this is how it went. This is how it goes. It's a blessing. And for those of you that heard that audio, the audio is there for you to listen how they know how to soothe and talk their way into brainwashing these young ladies. But this is as a server, not as anything more than that. And so she's the one dressed in white. She's even dressed in white. I'm almost certain we weren't even allowed to take pictures. That's how secretive they wanted it to be. It was just be and enjoy the moment. You got to be. You're around ministers. You're around the apostle. Just enjoy the moment. This is the presence of God. Whatever you hear, let it stay in. Don't tell no one else. Don't tell what you saw. You weren't supposed to tell anybody. That what you heard stays in that group. That's how confident. And they would tell you this. This is how much the apostle trusts you guys. You guys were chosen. You guys are the ones. Keep it to yourselves. Whatever you hear from the minister, whatever you hear from the apostle, stays in this confirmed space. Now, it wasn't really much, if I'm being honest. They were just talking about stuff like, church here, how Atlanta is. He wanted to hear everything. Because I was studying history at the time, they're like, all right, let's have you write up the history of the Church of Atlanta, how it started and how it grew. And at the time, I had a girlfriend who helped me prepare this paper. It felt like a blessing for us to be like, oh my God, the apostle's going to read this. This is, I had to find the information, interviewed some of the older members, how they wanted it. Well, they wanted to give the best to Naason. And I believe it was his first time coming to Georgia, period. And they were just saying he wants the history of Georgia. So we prepared him that. Small things like that make you feel so important. They want you to feel important. They want you to be very involved. Your loyalty is everything to them. And small things like that, especially if you're very really into church, into their doctrine, into the election, however you want to call it, into the cult, the better suited you are to be part of the cult, I suppose. And I know I got off a little, but these small little blessings, these little things that they tell you mean so much to someone like someone who was me at the time. Just a guy who wanted to serve and believed that we could do anything and everything with this man. I mean, that's what cults, that's how they operate. They make you feel special, that you're going to do something special. You're special. It's special. And they'll find a way to also, you're special, but you're not. You're special, you're part of this group, but you're not the leader. So even hearing the things that we had to assume is just, it's for us. No one else gets to enjoy it but us, for us, during those 2-3 hours that we're serving. No one's allowed to touch their food. I remember the guy I was serving, I think he was just starting to be really active with these other ministers, and he took like a bite out of his salad. It was an appetizer, and he was like, oh, I shouldn't be eating this. Like, he even flinched. He was like, I shouldn't have done that. I gotta wait for the apostle. Of course I gotta wait. Like, even some of these ministers are like getting used to it or not used to it, and they gotta like remember their spot, their place. No one's allowed to touch their food until the apostle comes and does his prayer, invites everybody to do their prayer, and the servers are just, really our heads face down, or we continue and preparing the beverages and food. We're not allowed to look directly at the apostle. So that says a lot of how much. It's like avoid as much eye contact as possible. Just focus on the people you're serving, and that's all that matters. During this time as well, this was very last minute. It was like a couple of days before they were having people to prepare a song. They said not hymn songs, not cantos, not from the hymnal, not anything church related. Choose a song that's from the world, it could be a pop song, anything that references the specialness of this person. They emphasize that really well. Or if you can't find one, get a song that is just an honor song, not even an election song, like an honor song, because there's a difference between election and honor. Honra y la elección, huge difference. The election just specifically talks about what the election is. It's the history, a little broad stroke of what the election is. Honor is more centered in a special moment, in a special occasion. It usually goes with his birthday, an anniversary, something. It's more concentrated. It gives them more of a special feel. So they said honor songs, or preferably worldly songs that talk about how special this a person is, that can be referenced to the election. And they even told us it's okay. The apostle likes this. He's given permission. Like, all right, cool. We'll choose an Enrique Iglesias or a fucking Chayanne song. I don't know. It was just something that could just. It was last minute, and they already had prepared a lot. And they're like, let's have more people. And they told me to prepare a song too. I didn't perform it. I was like the last person to perform, and they're like, not enough time. He's got to go. I'm like, well, I got to do everything else. I couldn't do everything. That was me always trying to do everything at the time. But it's quite interesting that during this event, he's eating. He's being treated very differently. He's eating the food that he had specifically. I think part of the food was what he wanted. And another part of it was that surprising with something good, or hearing other people, hey, he kind of likes this kind of food. He's kind of into this food, and have the people working in the kitchen kind of, all right, let's prepare this, and that. At this time, too, there were so-called nutritionists, they called. And I recognized I recognized both of them. Two of them are Susie and Medina, and I believe Acelia. Or the other chick, the other woman. But I do remember at least Susie. And we were told, the minister's wife told us, these are Naason's personal nutritionists that have to check and see if the food is up to par to the standards of his health, for his health. I'm like, this dude's eating tacos and gorditas, my man. That's what he wanted after the Dominica. He wanted, I'll give it to him. He wanted classical Mexican dish. He wanted, I remember it was like tacos or gorditas. I'm like, this isn't really healthy, but fuck it. It's what the apostle wants. So give the apostle what he wants. He wants tacos or gorditas. It was one of those. I'm like, well, that's not healthy, but hey, who am I to question the voice of God, the guy who supposedly literally represents God here on earth? If he wants tacos, more power to you. But what was interesting was the fact that he had two nutritionists looking and testing the food and seeing if it's supposedly healthy. But I was also hearing, like, I think it was just seeing if they had poison. I have no idea why they were there, why they were called a nutritionist, and why later on, a couple of years, when the arrest is made, they're denying who these women are. I'm like, these women, I was right. I know who they are. They're nutritionists. What else have they been labeled as? Nuns, deaconesses. Shoot, I'm pretty sure they have all these different identities to give them, and have excuses. They're just. And I'm pretty sure nutritionist is probably the more popular one. It's Naason's personal nutritionist. I'm like, all right, cool. So it's not something very special, but I don't think a lot of people got to see and be part of just how special they wanted to make this man feel in anything and in everything. Even the way they serve food, even the way the food is prepared, even the way the tables are prepared, the preparation. There's a ceremony, almost like a ritual, and it's a ritual when you think about it. There's a preparation. You got to do this. Only certain people can participate. And if he's, it's almost, you don't hear last minute things when it comes to him, at least coming out to a new town. It's, hey, it's told to us in advance that he's coming, so you need to do this and that. Everything has to be prepared, everything to the smallest detail. Up until that moment, just serving, hearing him talk, seeing him eat, and everything prepared around it was quite the experience. You have, and even the people who are singing have to sing in a low voice. It's almost background music. You have your personal musicians singing for you while you're eating fucking tacos and talking across the minister as they're telling them, as they're most of the time what they were ass kissing Naason, like, oh, you're the greatest. They were really literally complimenting this dude. Complimenting this dude or this guy's wonderful deeds that he has done. I'm like, what is this guy? When you look back, I'm like, man, they were just ass kissing all the way up to this guy. But that's just how it is. And it's so interesting looking back and seeing just preparing him food, just being a server, and the preparation that goes behind it is intense. And I just wanted to give you guys just a how I looked at things, just a little glimpse of my life that one time that I got to be around this man serving food for him, his family, and his ministers. Quite the show they put up. They redid the whole kitchen here in the Church of Atlanta. It's the main church, and next to it there's a small little, it's like a little ballroom, to be honest, but part of it is a kitchen and the rest of it is like a dining table. And they changed the whole thing just for him. They made it, you know how you have his pulpit, his special little throne that they have every time he goes to provincia, or even a church, they have that prepared. They want that prepared for just in case he comes and visits. Well, they did the same thing. It was like a mini throne. It was a mini, like you from the front you see it's his chair, his table. Having that, just serving him food has to be special. The people who are serving has to. There's a requirement to even be around this man. It's like he's very methodical. There's like, maybe not him, maybe how his dad set it up, but it's so fascinating when you look back. And I'd like to see if anybody of y'all got to serve either ministers or the apostle or his family, and how that was to y'all. I'll see you on the next time.